Hello children, how are you? I hope that everybody are fine and staying home safely. Okay, this is your Saubhagya madam back with another topic. Children, are you following the videos regularly? Have you understood what I have taught up to now? If so, it is very good. Try to read the textbook part. If you don't have textbooks, try to download them from the online so that you can check them in your PDF document. Okay children. So today's topic is our lesson 3, animal fiber. Okay children, what it is? Animal fiber. See children, there are 3 main important aspects that are required by the human beings. That is food, shelter and clothing. See, in what way the food is used? The food is used for survival. If a person or a living thing have to survive, it needs some food. And also, it gives protection against diseases. If you want protection also from the diseases, you need food. What is the second basic need? That is shelter. Shelter is used to live on. Okay, if you don't have any shelter to live, you cannot survive. And the third important thing is clothing. Why we are using this clothing? This clothing, what it is giving us? The clothing is giving us protection against climate, modesty, beauty and showing our status. See children, these 3 are the basic needs that any human being needs. In this lesson, let us learn about clothing in specific. Children, what do you wear? What do we all wear? We all wear clothes. So, the material that used for clothing is called as fabric. So, if you wanted to prepare any clothing, either it could be a sari, a dress or a pant or a shirt, anything, if you want to prepare it or stitch it, you need some fabric. Okay children, we get fiber from 2 main sources, that is natural fiber and artificial fiber. So the 2 main sources are natural sources and the artificial source. So in the natural source, we have fiber from plants and animals. See children, the examples of the fiber that we get from the plants are jute, hemp, cotton and so on. And the fiber which we obtain from the animals, we get from sheep, goat, yak, camel and silkworm. Okay children, these are the natural fibers that we obtain from plants and animals. Okay. And the artificial kind of fabric or the fiber which we are using is we prepare polyester and nylon. These 2 are the examples of artificial fiber and these are the examples of natural fiber. So children, in this lesson, let us discuss briefly about animal fiber. Okay, I'll read a paragraph from our textbook which was given in our textbook. Please do listen carefully. One day, Neelima went to a flower garden to pluck flowers with her friend Reshma. Suddenly, while plucking flowers, Neelima shouted and started crying by seeing a caterpillar. A caterpillar had crawled on her dress. Reshma quickly threw it away. Are caterpillars dangerous? Neelima asked. Reshma said, all caterpillars are not dangerous. Some are useful too. Do you know your dress is made of something we get from caterpillars? Neelima was surprised and started thinking about how dresses are made up of materials obtained from caterpillars. She remembered studying about that in class 6. The fibers derived from plants like cotton and jute are made into fabric. So, the animals also gives us fibers. So, children, think now, we are getting fiber from animals also. So, what kind of fibers we are getting? See, if you see, many women wear different kinds of sarees, and especially the sarees made up of silk are very soft and very beautiful to wear. Okay, children. So in this lesson, firstly we will read or learn about how we are getting silk or the fabric called silk from the silkworms. Okay, children. So, story of silk. Let us study story of silk. The rearing of silkworms to get silk is called as sericulture. What it is, children? Sericulture. So, in this culture, what they will do in this process or in this culture, what they are going to do? They rear silkworms. Rearing of silkworms is called sericulture. Sericulture. Okay. See, this sericulture is used or seen in different parts of our Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. See, children, this is giving food to many people. We will now learn how the silk is produced from the... So, children, to know the story of the silkworm, let us travel to Dharmavaram of Anantapur district. Here we are having the sericulture where more amount of people or more number of people use the sericulture as their livelihood. So come on, children, what happens in Dharmavaram of Anantapur district? Let us see the journey where the journey of the silk starts. Okay. The production of silk or silk fabric involves various persons and efforts. It is not an easy task. See, children, to prepare silk, there are many people involved in different stages, and also they have to show some special efforts to produce this soft and beautiful silk. Okay, first we start with the eggs. The silk moths, the moths which produce silk or which lays eggs, what they will do? The eggs which are laid by the moth called Bombaxi mori. So the moth is called as Bombaxi mori, and this moth is used to lay the eggs. So here the people who are living in this Dharmavaram area, they prepare special sheds to rear this silk moth, the Bombaxi mori. These moths are kept in grill mesh boxes. They are also called as chilakalu. See, children, what they are doing here, the farmers who are rearing this silk moths, what they'll do is they prepare large sized metal boxes or iron mesh boxes in which they keep this Bombaxi mori moth. Okay, they started rearing this moth there. Once the female moth acquires a particular age, what it will do? It will lay eggs. It will lay eggs. See, children, each female moth lays around 500 eggs at a time. It keeps 500 eggs in a go and dies. Okay, there ends the life story of this Bombaxi mori. Now we are having the main product, the eggs. These eggs are kept in large trays. They are kept in large trays or cotton mesh boxes in which these eggs are now ready to develop or grow into the next stage. Okay, children. So, the eggs. The eggs are placed in special chambers over mats and beds. See, children, they will arrange, once the moths lay the eggs, the farmers collect these eggs and they arrange them on large mats అంటే చాపలు పెద్ద పెద్ద చాపలు లాంటివి వేస్తారు. అలాగే they also prepare some beds made up of mulberry leaves. See, children, These silk moths, especially the silk moths, feed upon the mulberry leaves. The mulberry leaves will have some sticky gum-like substance in the leaves. The moth which eats these leaves can produce the silk. Okay, we will see the procedure. Okay, so once the eggs are kept on these beds or mats, they happily feed upon these mulberry leaves and they become into small worms. Once the eggs hatch, they give rise to small worms. These are nothing but the silk worms. Okay, so the farmers from the different areas come to this Anantapur Dharmavaram place to buy these silk worms. Okay, children. The farmers from different places like Kurnool, Kadapa, Chittor. Kurnool, Kadapa and Chittor, the people come to this Dharmavaram area to buy these silk worms. Sorry children, to buy these silk worms. Okay, not only the silkworms are being sold, sometimes some farmers also come and purchase the silk moths. Directly they wanted the parent so that they can take to their area and they wanted to produce their own silk. So what they'll do is they buy the silk moths sometimes. Okay, so the center where silk moths are sold are called as grenages. Okay children, there are particular places called as grenages where in that centers the silk moths are ready for selling. They are ready for selling. Okay, they will sell these silk moths directly, and there is one example of this grenage in Chittor, that is Horsley Hills. The name of that center is Horsley Hills in Chittor district specially. They also sell these silk moths. The Bombaxi mori. What is the silk moth name children? The Bombaxi mori. Now the first stage is finished. So we have seen the silk moth, the Bombaxi mori, which have laid more and more number of eggs. See children, imagine if one female moth can produce or lay 500 eggs. How many silk moths are there? And how many eggs can be laid? Okay, so these eggs are very tiny in size. These eggs are very tiny in size and special care has to be taken at this stage. Okay, the eggs have to be hatched and they have to give rise to the worms. The silkworm plays an important role. Okay children, so the eggs have been hatched on the mulberry leaf beds and the production of the silkworm have started. So in this area the silkworms are also sold and also silk moths are also sold. So the grenages will sell these moths and silkworms, which is the first stage in the production of silk. We will go to the next stage. Okay children, so we'll see the stage 2. Here what we can see in the stage 2. In the first stage we have seen the eggs that are laid by the Bombaxi mori silk moth. Yes children, so they were nicely kept in the beds or trays. Now see here the eggs which are converted into cocoons. So ఇక్కడ గుడ్లు ఏమవుతుందంటే cocoon లాగా మారిపోతున్నాయి. We'll see the procedure how it happens. So children, the silkworms are called as larvae. I said the eggs hatch and gives rise into small worms. That is silkworm. The silkworm is also called as larva. Okay, so what happens to this larva? See children, I'll read something for you from your textbook. Here a person called Rahman from Hanuman Junction of West Godavari district. So he was also a person who were rearing the silkworms. We grow silkworms to get cocoons. See children, in our West Godavari district also we are having a special center for this rearing of the silkworms. So they harvest the worms 5 to 6 times in a year. How many times they are going to harvest? Harvest means they have to get the products from the worms. So his grandfather, this Rahman's grandfather and brother work on the farms. So what they'll do is they'll bring the mulberry twigs. They bring the mulberry twigs from the Palamaneru district of Chittor. Palamaneru. I think you will get this word in social studies in this year. Okay. The Palamaneru the place from Chittor district, it has huge farms of mulberry plantation. They have huge farms of mulberry plantation. So this Rahman, who was working on this eggs, their sericulture is the second part, the eggs. So what they'll do is they bring those mulberry twigs and they plant in their fields. So once the plants grow, the mulberry leaves are the major source of food to this larva. So how they grow? See here, they grow these silkworms. They grow these silkworms in good hygienic conditions. So to have a proper growth, they have to be maintain good hygienic conditions and also proper light. The proper light should be provided for these silkworms to grow very healthily. Okay. As they grow, they are transferred from beds to cane frames called chandrikalu. So children, ఇంత ముందు చెప్పాను చిలకలు అని చెప్పాను. అవేంటి ఆ బెడ్స్. ద బెడ్స్ ని వాటిని ఏమంటారు, చిలకలు అని అంటారు. ఓకే. నౌ వీళ్ళు అక్కడ నుంచి తీసుకొచ్చారు, ఆ గుడ్లు తీసుకొచ్చి దే స్టార్టెడ్ rearing these eggs on the mulberry leaves. Once the eggs hatch, they get a larva. Okay, that is nothing but the silkworm. And this silkworm feed upon the mulberry leaves. Very nicely they feed upon the mulberry leaves. So they need proper hygienic conditions and also they need proper light to grow into bigger size. Okay, here once the worms or the larvae are growing up, these larvae are again transferred. The larvae are again transferred into bigger beds which are made up of cane. Cane is nothing but the bamboo sticks we get. Okay, so they are transferred from these beds to the cane-like big cages, which are called as chandrikalu. What they are called as, children? Chandrikalu. So what these worms will do, or what these larvae are going to do? They feed upon the mulberry leaves for around 30 to 35 days. What they do? They nicely eat the mulberry leaves very nicely for 30 to 35 days. 30 to 35 days they are feeding upon the leaves. Once they have fed very nicely and they have grown into a nice size, what this larva will do? The larva starts emitting a gummy-like structure. The larva emits a gummy-like structure. They will settle at one place and now they started emitting this one. So they emit this kind of gummy-like structure to form a cocoon. Children, if you observe a butterfly, the గొంగళపురు ఏం చేస్తుంది, గొంగళపురు కొన్ని రోజులు బాగా తిని ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఒక మంచి ప్లేస్ చూసుకొని అక్కడ ఒక కకూన్ లాగా ఫామ్ చేసుకుంటుంది. దాని చుట్టూ అంతా ఏం చేస్తుంది, చక్కగా ఒక థ్రెడ్ లాంటిది ఫామ్ చేస్తుంది. అవునా కదా? ఇఫ్ యూ కెన్ సీ ద బటర్ఫ్లై థింగ్, ద సేమ్ యాజ్ విత్ ద silkworm. In silkworm also, what it will do? It secretes a gummy-like structure like threads. It is like thread. So it will wind around itself like a cocoon. Cocoon is nothing but what do you call? ఒక చక్కని పెట్టెలాగా ఉంటుంది అన్నమాట. లోపల లార్వా ఉంటుంది, పైన అంతా చుట్టూ బాక్స్ లాగా చక్కగా తయారు చేసుకుంటుంది. ఓకే, సో వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్ when this cocoon is exposed to air and heat? When this cocoon is exposed to air and heat, the gummy structure will dry up and it becomes very strong. It dry up because of the heat and light and it becomes very strong. Okay, the net is also completely to cover the caterpillar. అవి ఏం చేస్తాయంటే, excuse me, okay children, so if you think this is a larva, okay, what it will do? It nicely build up the gummy-like structure around it. Happily it will wind around it or tie around it so that we'll get that cocoon. This cocoon is called as pattukayalu. See, there are specific names given to each and every stage of this silk production. So these cocoons are also called as pattu kayalu. So here ends the stage 2, from eggs to cocoons. So we got the byproduct, one of the main product for the silk, the pattu kayalu or the cocoons. Now we will see what happens in the next stages. Okay children, we got the cocoons. So what happens? If you leave the cocoons like that, after 2 to 3 weeks, the larva which is present inside the cocoon, which have settled down, will convert itself into a silk moth again, the Bombaxi mori. So this is a very crucial stage for the sericulture people who wanted to get good fabric. Okay children. So what happens? If the fly have to, the larva which is present in the cocoon, see, if you think this is a cocoon, larva is present inside it, yes? If it want to come out, it will convert itself into a moth and it will break the cocoon. It will break the cocoon and it will fly away. So here what is required? This cocoon is only required mainly. Why? Because this cocoon, once it is heated up or become dry, what it will become? These threads which are made up, the cocoon which is made up of the thread is the silk that we are getting. Okay. So here you have to protect these cocoons. If you protect these cocoons, then only we can get good quality of silk. Otherwise, if we allow this larva to convert into moth, it will break the cocoons. If the cocoons are broken, there is no use at all. See children, so immediately the farmers who are rearing these silkworms, what they will do? As the silkworm, the larva is converted into cocoon, so within 2 to 3 days, ఒకసారి cocoon form చేసిన 2 to 3 days లో what they will do? They will use a process called as stifling. What is it, children? Stifling. So in this stifling, what they will do? They will kill the larva by steaming. So now what they'll do? They will collect all the cocoons. And what they'll do? They will put them in big trays. And these trays are being steamed. Avir pattissaru. So what happens because of the heat of the steam, the larva which is present inside the cocoon will be killed. This process is called as stifling. What is this process, children? Stifling. So here the larva which have to be converted into moth should not be done. So they will use this technique called as stifling. Steaming the cocoons for 10 to 15 minutes will kill the larva inside it, and the cocoons are now preserved. They are ready for next use or the next step. So here we are having a cocoon markets. So these cocoons, once they collect all the cocoons, what they'll do is they will send them to the market. Okay, they will send them to the market. This stifling process also helps the cocoons to store them for longer period until it is converted into silk. Fabric laga marche time varaku kuda vatni safe ga unchutundi annamata ee stifling process anedi. Okay, so ఒకవేళ స్టిఫ్లింగ్ చేయలేదనుకో, what happens? If the stifling process is not done, within 2 or 3 weeks, the cocoons will be broken down and it will become of no use. See children, here there are many places where we can find this cocoon markets, especially the Hindupur, Madanapalli, Dharmavaram, Khadari, Palmaneru and Raichoti. So all these people who are living from this area specially get the cocoons. They especially get cocoons from this cocoon markets. Okay children. So children, we have seen 2 stages of the journey of the story of how the silk is being produced. First one, from the Bombaxi mori, the silk moth, we are getting or collecting the eggs. That is the first stage. Now from the eggs we are getting into the cocoon stage. So we have seen the two stages. These two stages, the second stage is more important. Okay. So in the second stage, the people from the sericulture. Sericulture means rearing of the silkworms. Okay, these people will take special care and attention so that the pure form of the silk is produced from these cocoons. So in our next videos, we will learn what are the other stages in which we can get the fabric or the fiber from these cocoons, and how that fabric is converted into beautiful clothing. So children, I hope that you have understood the video up to now. If you don't understand also, try to see the video once again and go through the textbook. See, textbook reading is always important. I am saying this word from many videos. Hope children you understand this. If you don't have books, please try to download from the online, and so that you can have the PDF copy of that. Okay children, stay home always and stay home safely and learn more about science. See, science is not an easy subject. You have to learn more about science. If you learn, read, listen and learn, so that it will be in your mind forever. Okay children, that's all for this video. Take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.